Yeah, guys. So today we're going to study Power BI desktop. So we're going to study basic thing in Power BI desktop. Today we're going to revise it, and then we're going to see how to create measure, what is calculated column, and later on we're going to see what is data model. Okay. So first of all, if you see, these are the tabs. So this is my file tab. Okay, this is my home tab. Then we have insert tab, modeling tab, view tab, optimize and help tab. These are the tab, and these are the ribbon. So we have get data ribbon, Excel workbook. This is enter data. This is data word, transform data, refresh. So these are the different ribbon. This is a published ribbon. So whenever you want to, suppose you have created some report, and if you want to publish your report to Power BI service using this, publish button, you can do that. And this is Copilot. So this Copilot is provided Microsoft, where you can use Microsoft AI features, where you can write your query related to Power BI or anything, and this AI will going to give you the code or the answer related to your queries. Now in Power BI, this empty space where you build your visual, so build visual with your data. So data is present here. So using this data, you can build your visual here, and this part is called canvas. Okay. Now, if you see at the left hand side, if you see this is called report view, and then we have a table view, and then we have a model view. Okay, and next view is DAX query view. So there is four different view in Power BI desktop. Report view, wherein you have a canvas where you plot your visuals and graphs, and you have different three pane. So this is my filter pane, this is my visualization pane, and this is my data pane. Okay, if you come under table view, you will be able to see your table exact data, what is the data present. So I have candidate table, and into this candidate table, these are the columns. So job, candidate ID, full name column, these are the column present, and these are 13 rows that is present into my table. So when I select this column here, you will get information about this column. So what is the name? The name of the column is job candidate ID. What is the data type of this column? Is whole number. Now if you see the format is also whole number. And then if you see how many decimal places we are taking, so as of now I am taking 0 decimal places. If you make two decimal places, so let me make that. So one decimal places means 1.0. After decimal you have one digit number. If I make 2, here we'll have 20. So this is how you can control your decimal places, how many decimal places you want to keep it. Ideally, when we keep decimal places to up to 3 decimal places, when your data type is not whole number but it is decimal number. So when you have a decimal number, then you can keep 3 decimal places normally. But sometime you can keep 2 decimal places or 1 decimal places as per your client requirement. Now you have a summarization. So by default, what type of summarization you want to keep on into this column? So if you see, the by default the type of summarization is count. Okay. Now, so this is a summarization, and this is also whenever you want to sort your column based on another column, you can do this. Do that by this sort by column options. I will show you later on how you can do that. And if you come to model view is required when you are going to create star schema or a snowflake schema, when you have a dimension table and fact table. We'll talk about on that. As of now, in basic thing, we're going to study about report view and table view. Later on, when our discussion mature, then we're going to take up model view. Okay, and then we'll also discuss while studying DAX. We'll also see what is DAX query view. Okay, so let's come back to the report view. Okay, and what I will do, I will take this candidate table, and I will expand it. So when you expand this candidate table, you will able to see these are the different column that is present there, you know. So suppose I am taking, uh, stacked bar chart. I am taking that chart, you know. Let me resize it. And what I can do, let me, see uh, state wise, candidate. Okay, so I put a state and I will going to have their uh, job candidate id, so I will go with the count of candidate id. Okay, let me close it. So if you are able to see, and let me format it because these are very small. So whenever you want to format your visual, you need to open your visualization pane. So I open this and you have a format, you know button. Just click on this, and this is called x-axis and this is called y-axis. So let me, format my y-axis. So what I will do, I will, make it 50. So see, the size has increased. Now I will make it bold and color is dark black. So these are the name of the city that we have. Oh, sorry, name of the state that we have, and these are the count of employee. So if you see, this is one of the state, and the, employee count is one. Okay, what I will do, let me, change the x axis. Okay, so I will make the value, 15 here also, and make it that. Yeah, display unit by default it is auto, but I will choose none because the value are very small. I'm not taking, display unit thousand or millions and billions, because if you see the value is 1 2 and 3. So as of now this is fine. And this is called, header. So we can change the header also. What we can do, if you go to, general, under general we have a title, and, as of now it is count of job candidate id by address location. So I will say address versus employee count. Okay, let me make it bold. And this is center align. So you can align if you want to make it left aligned or a right aligned or a center aligned, you can do that. That is also available. And we can even give the background also. So as of now, we have a white background, but let me give some background. And let me have this background. So we have a background as well. Okay, so this is a visual, that we have plotted, and if you are able to see this information. Okay, so this is how you can, plot your simple, visual. Suppose here, if you want that, I don't want to see the information of, mi and co. These are the, two state, I don't want to see the information. Then what you can do, you can filter your data. How you can filter your data? You come to filter pane, and you apply, these are the state, right? So you need to apply the filter on, a state, not on count of job candidate, but we need to apply filter on a state. Click on the drop down and see, first click on select all. And since I don't want mi and co, I will deselect mi and co. So if I deselect mi gone, right? Mi is not there. Also I don't want to see co is also gone. So this is how you can filter your data, so that end user will able to see only that part of data which you want to show them. So since I want to show them data for all these states only, I don't want to show them data for mi and co, then you can apply this filter. Okay, if you want to remove this filter, you can do so by clicking it here, and the filter got removed. Now if you notice one thing, I have job candidate id. In front of this job candidate id, we have submission sign. If you see this sign, this submission symbol indicate that these column, the job candidate id, has the data type either a whole number or a decimal number. Okay, so by seeing this, you will able to understand it. So if I click on this column, if you are able to see the name of the column is job candidate id. So whenever you select any column, you get column tools. There is a one new tab that will open, and by the name column tools. These column tools contain information about what is the name of the column that you have selected. So since I have selected job candidate id column, so the name is job candidate id. What is the data type? See, the data type is whole number. What is the format that we are taking? We are taking as a decimal format, but you can take it as whole number format as well. Yeah, and by default summarization is count. So what it will do, it will count the number of employee. So for this where state the count of employee is 1, so we are getting 1 here. Okay, for this state also the count of employee is 1, and we are getting 1. For mi also it is 1. fl, for fl it is count of employees 2, and we are getting 2. Suppose if we want that the count of employees should also be seen on the bar. As of now it is not seen. So if you want to see the these information on the bar also, you can you have to open the you know uh, data labels. So if you see, if you come to format button, under visual we have data labels. You need to toggle on data label, and we are getting this small value in front of all this. You see 3 here, 3 here, 2 here, and all that. So you can format it a bit. Okay, so if you see value, come here and make this value as 15. See, the value are bigger now. Now make it bold, and let's this value should be in this red color, or be in black color. And I want to make this value at the center align. So what I can do, you know you come here and you see position. Inside position, what you can do, you can say inside center. So it will come at the center of each bar. So we have for wa it is 3, for this state it is 3, and for fl this is 3, and so on. You can change this position. You can make inside end. So it will be inside the bar only, but at the end side you can make outside it. So it will outside the bar at the end side, and you can make inside base. So it will come at the base. Normally I follow inside center, so it will be at center of each of the bar. When I bring my cursor at any of the bar, if you are able to see, I'm getting some information like add.loc.state is equal to fl, and the count of job candidate id is 2. So this information that I'm getting, this is called tooltip. So on the tooltip, whenever you hover our cursor on any of the bar, you will get a tooltip, and that tooltip will contain information about what are the column you have drag and drop. So if you see on the y-axis, I drop address.loc.state, and on x-axis I have dropped count of job candidate id. So about these two information about these two column you will get in the tooltip. See, I'm getting the tooltip. You can format your tooltip as well. So you need to select this visual, come here, and you will see tooltip as well. So let me go to general. See, here is a tooltip. If you toggle it off, tooltip will not come. So if I bring my cursor on the bar, I won't see any tooltip. But if I toggle it on, I will able to see the tooltip. You can format your tooltip as well as so if you want to change your background, as of now it is white color, but suppose I want to change this background color to this color. So if I bring my cursor, see, the background of the tooltip has changed. Now you can even change the transparency. So if you make transparency, the color will become fade, so it become lighter color. If I make 100%, it will be 100% transparent, and the background will be white in color only. So I'm not able to see because the background of the color has become white, and that's why I'm not able to see. So let me reduce the transparency to 0, and I will be able to see now. Okay. Apart from that, this is the text that you are able to see. If you want to change the color of the text, that you can do so. So suppose if I want to change the value to this color, you will be getting value into this color. So let me change all this color to some different color. See, uh, labels, this color. See, the value changing. So if I want value should be into this black color, it will be in black color. So the name that you are saying add.loc.state, these are called label. So add.loc.state, this is a label. Count of job candidate id, this is label. But if you are saying fl and 2, these are called value. So these are the value. So value, as of now I ask in black color, it is coming in black color. The label I ask in orange color, it is coming in orange. So suppose I change this value, I want this value should be in some different color, yellow color, it will be in yellow. See, the value is in yellow now. Instead of black, fl and 2 has is in color yellow. So this is how you can format your visuals. Okay, you can apply the labeling. You can change the x-axis and y-axis. You can do that. If you are able to see these dotted lines, these are called grid lines. So if you want your grid lines, that is fine. But suppose if I don't want my grid lines, what I can do, I can format it and toggle it off the grid line. So you need to come into visuals, and if you see grid lines, you should come here. As of now, the vertical grid line is on. So if you change this color to some different color, see, I'm getting this vertical grid lines. These are called grid lines. So if you want that grid line, you can toggle it on. If you don't want, toggle it off. The grid line has gone. So if you want dotted, in place of dotted you want a solid grid line, we have solid grid line. See, okay, you can have your own custom. You can have your dashed grid line. So these are the dashed grid line. You can increase the width as well as see, the width has been increased. And if you add so these are called grid lines. Okay, if you want, then you can format it. If you don't want, toggle it off and it will come. Ideally I don't have grid lines because uh, because like when grid line is important, when you have one page, I have this page, and I have 3 to 4 visuals, and if I want to arrange that visual, I have grid lines. I toggle it on grid lines so that I can arrange my visual properly. Once arrangement of the visual is done, I always toggle it off so that my presentations or a graph, it should look, appealing. Okay. Now, as of now, if you are able to see, uh, you see the job candidate ID column, and when I drag and drop, by default it has gone for the count. It has not gone for the sum. It has not gone for the sum of job candidate ID. It has just gone for the count. So how Power BI get to know that whether I should do the sum of the candidate ID, or I should go for the average, or whether I should go for count? What should I go? So that is decided by here. So if you select this column, by default, if you see the summarization, it is count. So it will do the count. If you make by default summarization is sum, it will do the sum. Okay, as of now, this is already there. After this, you drag and drop this column, you will get a sum. So suppose you are getting count here, you want to change to sum. What you can do, you come under visualization pane, you come to x-axis, click on this drop down, and here you can choose. Here by default it is coming count. I can choose sum. See here, the sum of job candidate ID is coming, and now the data or the information has also changed. So for AMI it is coming one. So if I plot two similar graph, one below the another, so that you guys can compare. So let me have this graph and let me copy it. So how you can copy it? Select this graph, right, right click on the mouse, you will get a copy, and click on copy visual. For the paste, we don't have any option, so sadly you need to use the keyboard. So press Ctrl and V, and you will get a copy of this visual. Okay, and you can use this copy. Let me arrange it. Yeah, now what we can do, let me here change it to count. So let me do the count. See the information for count. When I go for count, I'm getting this information. For WA it is coming 3. So it is counting the number of employee. So if you come to table view, and if you go to this column add.loc.city, so let me click on this column. Let me apply filter for WA. So where is that? Hey, this. Let me apply filter for WA. So WA. See how many employee are there. 3 employees there. So if you want to see job candidate ID, so we have candidate ID with 8, 4, and 3. So if you go with the count, it will come 3. So if I'm doing the count for WA, it is coming 3. But if I go for the sum of candidate ID, so what it will do, it will sum 8 plus 4 plus 3. So 8 plus 4 12 plus 3 15. So for WA I will have 15. So WA I have 15. Okay, if you are able to see. So what type of aggregation that you are allowing for that column is very very important. So you can change the aggregation from here. If you want to go for sum, you can do the sum. Suppose I don't want to have sum, I want to have average. So we'll have a different picture. For WA, if you see, the average is coming 5. Why coming 5? Because if you add all these three, 8 plus 4 12 plus 3 15, 15 divided by 3, it will give you 5. And for WA, I will have 5. So make sure that whenever you are plotting your graph, your aggregation, what you are plotting is very very important. So whether you are going for minimum, or whether you are going, so it will give you minimum of the value. For WA, what is the minimum value? It is giving 3. Let me check. For WA, what is the minimum value? Oh, I have 8, I have 4, I have 3. So minimum is 3. So WA, it is showing 3. Suppose I go for maximum. So maximum for WA, it is coming 8. Let me check. Is it 8? Yeah. Maximum of all 3 is 8. So these type of, if your aggregation is not correct, your graph, showing the value will not be correct. What is candidate need? What is client needed? Suppose client told you, give me the count of employee, and if you have done some average, the number will be totally different. The type of insight that you will be getting is different. Okay. So this is how, you can, plot, or you can, create your graph. As of now, you know what I'm doing, I'm just, simply dragging and dropping this column, and by default it is going for summarization. Why it is going for summarization? Because if you see the name of this column, job candidate ID, in front of that we have, submission symbol. So whenever you have a submission symbol, the data type of that column either will be a whole number, or either it will be a decimal number or a fixed decimal number. So these three data type. For these three data type, if you have a two decimal number, you can add it. If you have two decimal number, you can subtract it. If you have two decimal number, you can find the maximum or minimum. If you have two decimal number, you can find the average. So these are the, you can go for sum, you can go for average, you can go for minimum, maximum, count, standard deviation, variance, median. All these you can do. All these type of aggregations is possible when you have the data type of the column is number, or a decimal number, or a fixed decimal number, or a whole number. But suppose I have, into this graph, what I have done it, let me, not drag and drop this column, but to use first name column here. By default it is going for count of first name. Will I able to go for sum? See, sum is not coming here. If I'm clicking on the drop down here, sum is not coming. Why? Because if you see the data type of this column, it will be text. The data type is text for the first name column. So you cannot add two text. So if I ask you to add, Ritik and Kumar, you will get nothing. You cannot add it. You cannot add two text value. But you can count. So I have a Ritik and I have, Arnab. So I count, there are two people. One is Ritik and one is Arnab. So that's how I get. For WA, what I am doing, I am doing the count of first name. So let me go here. This is a first name. If I see the count, I have a Peng, Stephen, and Krishna. So I have three employees. So the count will come three. The count is coming three for WA, because what I'm doing, count of first name. But if I tell you the same thing, that give me the sum of Peng, Stephen, and Krishna, what is the sum value come? You will say, Tribhuvan, the data type of this column is text. We cannot add text. Similar to, job candidate ID, you know, unlike job candidate ID where you can add 8 plus 4, 12 plus 3, 15, you cannot add Peng, Stephen, and Krishna. You can concatenate these three value that we have seen it in Power Query, but you cannot add it. So that's why this type of aggregation is not possible for any column that has data type text. So if you click on the drop down, either you will have a count or you have count distinct. Also, if you see summarization here, if you click it here, you have a count and count distinct. But if I go for this, job candidate ID column, this column, So if I go under summarization, I have a hell lot of option. I have sum, I have average, mean, max, count, district, and all. So you, whenever you are creating a graph and visual, you should always make sure that the column that you are dragging and dropping into the visuals under visualization pane, it should have a proper data type. If the data type is also not correct, the output or the type of aggregation that you want to plot will not be correct. Okay. Apart from that, suppose by default, job candidate ID, it should be a whole number. But in Power Query, if I go here, candidate table, I have job candidate ID. By default, in Power Query, might be, the data type detectors is text. Okay. The data type that Power Query has detected is text data type. By default, this was a mistake that was made. And what you have done, you have click on close and apply. Yeah, let it load. So if you see the job candidate ID, if I click it here, job candidate ID, this is the column. If I click it here, and if I go to column tools, see the data type is text. Since the data type is text, although if you are able to see these are the number, ideally when I sum up, job candidate ID 8 plus 4 plus 3, it should come 50. Okay. But you can, there is, if you go your job candidate ID, see the submission sign has gone, because now Power BI is considering this column and the value inside this column as a text data type, not as a number data type. So you cannot summarize, you cannot do sum here. So see, sum is not present, max is not present, minimum is not present. So these type of aggregation, average is not present. Only count and count distinct is coming, that earlier was available for any column that has a data type text. Although the value are seems to be number here, but since Power BI considering this as a text, you cannot add it, you cannot add it. So if I just remove this column, and if I add job candidate ID here, I cannot do sum. So if I click it here, I am not getting option to do the sum, because Power BI is considering this column as a text. Logically, we know that you cannot add two text, similar to what we can add two numbers, and that's why it is not showing sum, average, and all that aggregation that is available for number or whole number or a decimal number or float number. So that's why I'm saying Power Query, whatever you are doing in the Power Query is very, very important. So whenever you are loading your data, you need to check the data type your column, whether the data type of the column has detected correctly or not. You can change this to the number, whole number, or a fixed decimal or a decimal number. Or either what you can do, you can remove this supply distance. The data type detected is 123. 123 is for the whole number. Let me close and apply this, and you will get a submission sign in front of this column. And now you will able to go for sum, average, mean, max, all this aggregation is available now. So whenever you are getting data, your first responsibility is to whenever loading, check whether the data type of the column is correct or not, whether the information that you are getting in the column is correct or not. And then only load your data from Power Query to Power BI desktop, and then start making the graph and visuals. Otherwise the type of insight that you will be getting will not be correct. Okay, so these are the basic thing. that I have told you today. Also, suppose here some of job candidate ID you are just dragging and dropping and you are changing your aggregation. So these type of creating creating a visual is only recommended when you have a very small aggregation or say a simple aggregation. But suppose there is a question, so there is a scenario, so give me some of job candidate id, but only for those employee which are active or which have the skill as Power BI or which have a skill as SQL. So this type of complex scenario I never recommended just use simply drag and drop. In that particular type of scenario I always tell people that go for calculation. Calculation means you need to create your measures, you need to create your calculated column. How to create a measure? What you can do, you need to select any of the table. If you hover your cursor in front of table name, at the right hand side you get three dot. These three dot is ellipses, you need to click on this and you will get an option to new measure. You need to click on this new measure. Here you need to give the name of your measure. By default it will come with the name measure and then you have a equal to sign, but you can give any different name. So you can give any name. So suppose I am giving that count of employee id, count of employee. So this is the name that I given. Okay, count of employee. And what I want to do, I just need to count the job candidate id. you know so what I can do, I can simply route count function. So this is the count function that is there. I need to use count, and I want to do the count of job candidate id. This column is present inside which table? This column is present inside candidate table, so I need to choose candidate. So I select candidate. That the name of the table is always enclosed within single dot, single inverted comma. So this is single inverted comma. The name of the table is always enclosed within single inverted comma. Now, inside this table, what is the column that you need to take? You need to take job candidate ID. So whenever you want to pass the name of the column, you need to use a square bracket. So I have used a square bracket. Now, if you are able to see, you will get option only from this candidate table only. So the candidate table ka this column, candidate table ka address dot type column, candidate table ka email column, and so on. Only candidate table, because we have already named the table. So Power BI is intelligence enough to give you only those prompt which are only those column which is related to this candidate table. Which is the column that I want? I want job candidate ID. So you can choose job candidate ID. See, here is the job candidate ID. I can click on this. See, I get a job candidate ID column. Name of the column is always enclosed within a square bracket. So if you are able to see, these are enclosed within a square bracket. The name of the table is within single dot, so it is coming. So what I am saying, with this measure, I am saying give me the count of job candidate ID present into this table, candidate table. Since my function is started with here, I need to close my function with round bracket, or these are called even parenthesis. So I need to close with parenthesis. So function always start with a parenthesis and close with a parenthesis. These are the rule that I'm telling. And function always need a parameter or an input, and this is the input that I provided it. So count function always need a column, so I provided column. Okay, now what I will do, I will click on this commit button to get the measure created, or I will hit the enter button of my keyboard. By that also I will able to create. See, this is a count of employee, this is a measure, and see the symbol is different. So we have a calculator symbol. So whenever you have a calculator symbol, you should be able to understand that these are not column but these are the measures. Okay, so what you can do, you can plot your graph. So we have this graph, let me make it side here. This graph be here, let me copy this visual and let me paste it, get it here. Now here I am using direct column name, sum of job candidate ID. What I have then, I simply drag and drop it here. Simply drag and drop this job candidate ID. So if I just tell you what I have done, I simply drag and drop this column. I am getting this graph. What you can do, here what it is, it is going for count. Let me do some. So this is the value that I am getting it. I will select this visual. What I will do, let me remove this and let me drag and drop this count of employee measure here. Okay, so these are the count. Okay, let me do count here also. So if you see, the result for the both the thing are same only. So this is a normal simple drag and drop that I have used for the count of job candidate ID. But here what I have done, I have written my calculation, I have written my measures. Okay, where I have given the name of the measure, count of employee. The same name is appearing here, count of employee. And after equal to, I have given my what is the logic that I want to apply. So the logic is, I simply want to count the job candidate ID value that is present inside candidate table. And both these two things are giving me exactly the same output. For WA it is giving 3, for FL it is giving 2, for FL it is also giving 2. Everything is same, no change. I always recommended people to create a measure and then plot graph. Why? We'll discuss tomorrow. As of now, we are done. If you have any questions, please ask.